Happy Wednesday! I'm here with Drake Mailhot, and he's owner of
Yes.
Southern Landscaping,
I think
right?
like 49%. My mom's majority owner.
Okay.
Howard, my dad, is the other owner. And we split
Okay.
it 3 ways. Not 49, it'd be like 30.
Something.
It's somewhere in those
33,
30s.
34.
I'm good at math, but I'm not good at math.
So Drake is my guest today, and our typical topics here on Wednesday is how do I recap my week and take the positive out and share that so someone else can benefit from that positive, because we all deal with negative. So talk to me about what you were just bringing up, because I got a little probe in there that I want to find out.
Yeah, first of all, too, I was calling it Wayne's World. So sorry, take that back. But yeah, so something that's been heavy on my heart. We were like, I've typed it out, and I want it to be positive, and I don't want it to be negative. And it can come off negative if I say it the wrong way. But I found out and I see a lot of business owners maybe go through this, when I didn't know what I didn't know. And I got into networking, and I was so green to it that I made a Facebook page, I got involved with this group, got in this group, and then I see these groups like just kind of going at it, and then I was emotionally involved with them going at it, and I was getting so far from growing my business and trying to be Facebook famous, networking famous, and I thought because I was producing these big numbers on social media and stuff that was benefiting, and then I realized I had sales appointments we would be booked out 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month. And I wasn't focusing on that. And when I dialed it back and kind of reclused into a hole, first of all, I don't like to leave people with unanswered questions.
Gotcha.
But when you start to get out there and do these big numbers, people start coming at you with all these questions, and you only have so much time in a day, and you have to be real cognizant of your time. I was not focused on converting customers from being network and Facebook famous. I was not converting on making sales. And so I recluse back in a hole. I still pass out referrals, but I'm not out and about as much.
So what about the feelings that are attributed to that? Like
ego would be one of them.
So they're negative, really? How did it make you feel? Because
2 things on ego.
Okay.
It did.
Yeah.
Ego wanted me, and it made me feel fulfilled. It made that empty hole in my heart. We all have some PTSD when we were kids, or maybe my communication with my dad could have been better. But it all transferred into ego. And ego is good for 2 reasons. It's good and it's bad. And there's 2 reasons why. It can be bad because your ego will take over and cause you to do things that are not profitable for your business.
Okay.
You'll go do things because you think, oh, this will get my name out there more. But if you run a test and measure on how Facebook's been paying you off, besides Google.
Right.
If I put $1,000 in Facebook, I'll be Facebook famous. Put $1,000 in Google, I will not be famous, but I will convert bigger customers.
Right.
Because that's where my numbers come from. But ego's also a good thing too. I feel like it gives you a little bit of a confidence, but you can't let ego consume you. Too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. But I feel like you need that confidence to try to go be number one and to say, I'm the best. And you might not be the best,
right?
But you're focused on being the best. And so a little bit of ego, I think, is good. Too much.
So here's the thing. I look at that and I kind of separate them, because to me, I would say that, all right, my ego is going to get me through the door, but my vanity is going to get me thrown out the door.
Yeah.
So that's the way I'd look at it. So when I get to that point and I'm looking at, okay, I do know what I'm talking about and I can do this. All right, we talk about the cube. I know I can do it. I'll do it. But now when I start boasting and bragging, that's the vanity. So it's not ego for me anymore, because ego's like, well, you can do this. And I encourage others. Yeah, you can totally do it. Here's how. I'll show you the steps. But when I degrade or, start talking down to someone and saying, well, look, obviously it's like this. You just do it. What's wrong with you?
We can't get past that.
Exactly.
I'll tell you one thing in networking that really, my ego really got a hold of me. When I would meet individuals, and they would brush me off as just another landscaper, and the fact that the dollar and revenue amount we're doing, which I don't mention much because again, it's not about that. But the more I can make, the more my team makes, and we can help the community. But that would just rub me wrong. And why? Who cares? But
Right.
when you get brushed off, because
Right.
it's just
Because again, one of the things that you have to consider is, did that relationship bring any business to your business, and would it?
most
You know,
of the time it
that's the thing.
doesn't.
Exactly. So now I want to kind of come back to this. Do you think it was affecting, because I know you're a person of faith and you lead your business with faith, do you feel it was affecting you when you're in that Facebook famous type thing, and did you get back?
Yeah, I feel like I did.
Mhm.
I'm not I mean, it's still like people do say, like, Drake, you're famous, like, and I don't feel that, and I don't care if you're effective. Fame is something that comes after. It's almost like what's a bad result of something? Not a punishment, but a consequence.
Well, I think Princess Diana.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
consequence, and like I just want to do what God wants me to do. And God gives me this tool of Facebook, and he gives me the right words maybe to say. And, I'm going to get real deep. I might cry, but one thing that I always cry when I'm speaking because I really just pour my heart into it. But one thing is like, sometimes me and Monica struggle to pay our bills. People think like Drake's making this big amount, but we put it all back into the business.
Mm-hmm.
We help people. So we did a school teacher thing, and I raised $2,000 in 4 hours of live. My ego could have took over. And I feel like God gives you this money and sees what you're going to do with it with responsibility. And I had to take $900 my personal money and my side account that I keep all for myself to dump into that. And when I'm struggling to pay my own bills.
Right.
And so I feel like God gives you this responsibility of a tool of Facebook and being able to say the right words. And if you don't carry that out effectively, if you carry that out for your ego, you're going to fail. And that's the biggest thing I've seen. And we've been so blessed in the past couple of months of clarity. We've been crushing it some months. We haven't been crushing it some months, but I really know where we're at. I got a finger on the pulse. We're killing it, but it can be so much better in that focus. But I had a real battle with like wanting to be famous versus wanting to be effective in my business. And the whole reason I did that was for my business.
Right. And that's what I said. I think you can see once you start going down that path. And I've always had a personal struggle with confidence because I didn't want my confidence to be arrogance. And, there's a difference. I can be confident I'm going to open that door, but arrogance will say, well, yeah, I'm pulling on it all the time, but ignore the fact that it's locked, and that's where I never want my judgment to be clouded, by arrogance. So I always find a way to humble and be modest with just about any of my gestures. That's just who I am. And I think you know that.
Yeah.
I never look at anything as, this is so awesome that you did something. It's just a small part. And getting back to what you said about God and trusting you in things. So I listen to a lot of Jim Rohn, and, he says that God would look at people and say, is this person a good steward of something? Should we entrust them? Because if you entrust a fortune to them, what would they do with it?
Yeah.
So if you're irresponsible, then you would lose it. And that's not a good place to store good fortune. So you want it with someone that's going to be responsible, respectable, and distribute it to others that it would help. And, it's hard to pull yourself away from the constant growth, because sales is really what drives the business.
Marketing and sales.
You've focused on that. Marketing, sales. You always have to be feeding the funnel, and filling that. So then you get your next result. But at some point, and I recently had an interaction with someone, and just their language, I was like, well, I don't think I'll ever deal with this person, because clearly their ego. When in a conversation,
if somebody's genuine or not.
When you tell someone in a conversation, Google me. Easy. It's you don't know that person.
Don't Google me, by the way. Yes.
But the point is, we do Google people to research them, and those feedbacks are important, but your results, you're gonna get it when you call someone and you talk to someone right away. You know what you're doing.
Yep.
You know the sales part of it, and you know when to turn it off, because you don't want to be salesy.
Used car salesman.
Yep.
Sorry to the used car salesman out there. I always apologize for that.
Yeah,
but
it's just a reputation. Same thing
Yep.
with attorneys. That they get that bad rap, but there are great ones out there. So,
and I'm there to help with sales, and that's good. That's a good point. Like you said, when somebody first meets you, if you're genuine or not. And as time goes on, and everybody knows Wayne's willing to help. That we know that, and so we feel that. And I feel like in this networking community, and the more effective you get, the more bigger I feel your business gets, or the more people perceive your business to get.
right.
The wolves start circling. And I have a hard time with kind of just setting them in their place. But I just want to help people. I want to grow a business. I do want a lifestyle that I feel like's deserved of me, but I don't want to take advantage of what God's given me and putting all this wealth and trust. And I want to do what's right. And it's hard for me.
So I think it makes it easier also if you're following in that path for you to then keep doing the thing that you're doing. So whether you're getting more business because of the way you're following in your faith and how comfortable you feel, that's going to be a positive result both ways, because you're still doing what your faith is telling you, and business is growing. So I think pursuing that, it's harder nowadays to really get the two going, but I think you guys have done a great job, and you've really turned on your focus every time you guys have been meeting in here and dialing it in. That's so important to your business. So I would say to someone that's not as big as your company, you still need that accountability. We talk about this. I've had tons of conversations here with other people, and it's the accountability that you have to. We talk about consistency, accountability. You have to be consistent, and you have to be accountable.
Yep.
So if you're going to go to the gym, then you got to go frequently. If you're going to be accountable, well, you just can't go there and conversate with people. You got to go there and actually do some work, record your workouts, show your gains, show your progress, things like that. So all of these are important tools. So whatever your lifestyle is, you still have to be accountable. You could be, just a first job person, and if you don't look and say, well, what am I doing with my paycheck? That's your key source of income. What am I doing? Is it enough? How do I grow it? And one of the things that we talk about, I think it's Warren Buffett, what's the best investment you've ever made? And he said, invested in myself.
Yeah.
Books, research, that type of stuff. So how do we get people to invest in themselves,
and realize and implement wisdom. I learned knowledge is not the same as wisdom.
Yeah.
And I'm not the smartest in the room. I'm not the most creative. I'm not the best looking. I'm not the richest. I'm not, this or that. But I know if I work my tail off, if I look and see what people are doing and implement it, I can be successful. But one thing that's been heavy on my heart lately is I'm not happy where I'm currently at. And I need to do something different. Not like I need to move businesses. I just need to change my mindset a little bit and pursue that in knowledge and investment in whether that's a new service, whether that's building something. But I feel really complacent right now. And when I do that, I get uncomfortable.
Right.
And so now it's time to...
Well, that's your internals. That's your morals guiding you back and saying, hey, this is not where we're putting you.
Self-awareness. Yeah.
We want you back here. So you just have to listen to yourself and follow that. So I think we've dumped a lot of knowledge and tips on people, man, which is good. That's awesome. I love it. So again, I think if we can give a couple of takeaways to people, in their lives, what would it be?
Facebook famous will not make your business successful, and it'll only fill a hole in your heart for so long. You got to be really focused on your goals and your priorities, and definitely helping the community and stuff like that. Networking's in there, but do your research of the numbers and where your time is going and what's the most payback. Because again, you're running a business. This is not a hobby. You can get into the community and get in there of a hobby, but you still got to support the business that feeds you. Because if that fails, everything fails.
Right. So I think it was Steve Harvey that said, the
Steve Harvey.
best thing you can do for a poor person is not be one of them.
Yes, amen.
So you can help more. So the people that want to help others, I see a lot of this with the younger generation. They haven't
helped themselves.
Well, they have such aspirations and such big hearts. It seems like they're more empathetic to people's situations and want to help. The thing is, they haven't been able to help themselves.
Yes.
So you're kind of not in a position to distribute that help, you know? So airplane scenario, mask come down, put it on yourself, and then you help out others.
Yes.
You know, that's what we have to do
like
in life. So we've got tons of tips for you this week that hopefully it helps with your life, your situation. Again, if there's something that is crazy in your world that you feel is bothering you, feel free to, reach out, and not necessarily to us, but there are tons of people you can reach out to. You'd be surprised. A lot of times people think that help isn't close by or convenient to them, and they just never took the opportunity to ask someone. So we found that out today.
Sales.
Yeah.
You only get what you ask for, and you
be specific.
Yes. Yeah, be specific. Just
I don't want a lot of money. I want $101,000 by the end of the year 2023. You got to be specific, and then how are you going to get it? What are you doing?
What's your
and
goals?
Every day, add up to that.
Yep.
So
thank you, Wayne, for having me on.
Absolutely. Have a happy WAYNESDAY,
aka Wayne's World.